Fascism runs on fear. So, what happens when you're laughing too hard to be afraid? Tonight, my guest has built his whole career on testing just that. He shows up to ICE protests in a giraffe costume and he sings Trump and MAGA into the ground because a scared and silent public is exactly what fascism needs. And a giraffe screaming show tunes at federal agents is the opposite of that. He's been arrested for it more than once, and he is with us tonight. Also, Democrats just beat $60 million in dark money in Michigan, and it might be the clearest sign yet that the party's left side isn't just surviving, it's thriving. So why is the establishment terrified? And later on, I did not show you any of my slides, damn it. Anyway, that's our guest. And later on, we are going to... we're going to be spinning a wheel, and whatever topic it lands on, my guest has to perform a song about it live on the spot, no do-overs. So that's a lot of stuff to get into, and I hope you're ready to get into it because I am. Let's go. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Padelan, a.k.a. BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And as promised, our guest today is none other than the illustrious, the famous, the inevitable Robby Roadsteamer. Robby, welcome to the show.
Hell yeah, honored to be here, Majid. This is incredible. We are creating the new Seattle tonight. The new Haight-Ashbury progression is on the rise through music and song. Hell yeah. Hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, get rid of brown people for me. Aryan White, there ain't no place I'm going to. Harmonica.
That's an awesome Bob Dylan, sir. First, let me ask you, where did the Robby Roadsteamer name originate?
Well, my first name, I'll field this. My first name is Rob Patillo. And so basically I grew up on WWE wrestling and my dad being a Vietnam vet and having that energy. Like completely, if you like my character, thank Big Lou Patillo from Danvers, Massachusetts. So basically, the character just came from almost a wrestling side of the tracks. We have to remember Trump's in the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2013. And so we have to fight absurdity with absurdity. So I just thought like Vince McMahon in the late 90s, because that's who Trump is playing. And I'm just like, you're going to be called Robby Roadsteamer.
So I would have bet money and I would have probably lost. I could have sworn that when I hear you, I hear Hulk Hogan. When I hear your Robby Roadsteamer voice, I swear that's what I hear. And then I saw this amazing clip. It was so hilarious. I was like, no freaking way. You ran into Hulk Hogan. Tell me about what the heck was that event that you were at that he was at the same time?
Basically, Hulk Hogan was hawking beer. It was called Real American Beer around the time that the Bud Light Rainbow bottle was all the sensation with the Christian nationalists. And so he was hitting a bunch of liquor stores in New England. You got to remember the WWE. They are in Stamford, Connecticut. So he was thinking he'd have a lot of hometown love up here and stuff. So my character is wrestling. It is Macho Man. So I just thought it was fate. I mean, you also have to know, I lived with China from the WWE. Like, that's a China tattoo. I'm not joking about this. I love wrestling like Andy Kaufman, and I found China in Japan. and we convinced her to come back, and we lived together. And she passed away. Oh, brutal, heartbreaking, like as tragic as like the Amy Winehouse of wrestling and whatnot. And I don't know, her spirit really was imparted in me and stuff. And so I felt like it was fate. You know, Hulk Hogan's at a liquor store, and I came in with a MAGA Powers t-shirt, because you have to remember, in the 80s, Hulk Hogan was part of a tag team with the Macho Man. Ooh, you can pretty much tell it's my voice.
Randy Savage, right? Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, yeah.
And so I went up to Hogan. He had a tag team with Randy called the Mega Powers, and I had a red MAGA shirt on. And I go up and I'm like, "Look at this, dude! The Mega Powers. What are they gonna do when we drop the big boot on trans?" And his finishing move was the big boot, the leg drop. And so I'm like, "And we're gonna drop the big boot on Social Security." And then I sang his theme song, which is "I'm a Real American, Fight for What's Right for Every." So ironic. So I wrote, "Trump is a real felon. Then he went to Epstein Island, fight for alt-right." And then the funniest thing about it is I got him again a week later. He was hockey.
Wait, hold that. Are you talking about the bear thing?
Yeah.
Hang on. I have a clip.
Oh, no.
Hell yeah. Look at the shirt, the MAGA Powers. We're going to destroy the woke. What are they going to do when we drop the big boot on trans and we drop the big boot on everything? We're going to drop the big boot on Social Security. Does that work for you, brother? Trump is a real felon. Then he went to Epstein Island. Trump, no physical, no political violence. No political violence.
A few moments later.
I think there will be 2 or 3. Beautiful. Oh boy. Trump is a real felon. Thinks the immigrants are eating cats. Trump is a real felon. Fight for alt-right. Fight for alt-right. Did you miss me? No political violence.
So great. So great. So what happened? Did they throw you out? Did they get physical with you? What happened?
There's another video up. What happens is I leave the Cappy's Liquor in Medford, Massachusetts, dude. And I go across the street to the Starbucks. It's only one cop. He doesn't even really want to handle me and stuff. So they send me to the Starbucks, and that big guy in the red shirt that you saw in that video that grabbed me, he followed me across the street. Both of those dudes followed me across the street as handlers. And now I'm in this sort of mode. You know, I'm not talking like Cookie Monster and stuff. And the guy comes up to my table while I'm having a Frappuccino and stuff, green tea. And he's just like, "Dude, you dress up as a bear on a Thursday?" And now I'm me. So I'm just like, "Dude, the guy made a sex tape. He lasted 5 minutes. He's a racist. You're worried about me dressing up as a bear on a Thursday? You better go back over there. There's probably other bears in line, dude." So it's pretty funny. And then from a friend of mine who was behind me in line, a cop came from Medford, and they were like, "Hey, Hulk, did he touch you?" And Hulk turned and he's like, "I don't know, brother."
What made you decide to do this stuff? Because it's part comedy, it's part music, right? It's part dance, it's part theater, but it's all protest. And like, why? What made you start doing this?
Well, I mean, originally I'm Massachusetts. Try being an alternative comedian in New England. You might as well just try to find gold in a desert, or teeth in a hen. It's just impossible. You have to go to New York or LA. But if you choose to stay up in Boston, you have to just be like, "What's up? How are we wicked weird tonight up in Worcester? What about these Patriots, dude? What's up with the Pats? We're behind New York. We're second place in the country as being the most, and it's just like, I had struggled in the comedy scene a little bit, the music scene. I wasn't making a feasible living. And I went out west, like I said, with China from the wrong arm, Robert, China from the WWE. And basically, I don't know, but combined with hanging out with her and understanding a little bit more the psychology behind a wrestler, and also understanding the darkness of Vince McMahon through her own words, a lot of dark stuff, and especially with
really?
Trump. Because Trump was in the WWE Hall of Fame too. And I think when I came back from California about 3 years ago to Boston, I just had a chip on my shoulder. I know I can improvise, just like the old man. I told you, I got the character from the old man, but my old man was a vindictive Vietnam vet that was almost like a toxic narcissist theater kid. He would just do stuff so dramatic. He was 6'1" with a black handlebar mustache and cut off Daisy Duke shorts with like these brown, dark, reflective sunglasses. He had I began to love baseball, so he decided to coach my little league team, even though he hated sports. I never heard him talk about sports too much. And he drafted a team of the kids he hated the dads of in high school. I mean, my old man was just nuts. He played the long game. And so I feel like what I bring to the protest is a real dark chip on my shoulder to sort of bring this absurdity humor right to the darkness of MAGA, because pretty much I'm impersonating my dad, who was a Trumper. And it's like just going out there and just channeling their absurdity energy back onto them like judo. I'd just be out there. And at first I get them to love me. That's what I would do back in the day. I'd find out MAGA's having like a protest up on a bridge in Saugus. And I'd go there and I'm like, hell yeah. Well, I'm proud. I voted for Donald Trump. For at least I know I'm free. And they would think I was the second coming of Kid Rock. Like people would be, dude, my brother has a bar down in Revere. We can get you playing there like Monday night. And then all of a sudden I would start to go from there, and I just start singing other songs, and they start to like, I got my first shitty red hat. Bought it at the Ocean State lot. Wore it till it wore out. It was the summer that Trump got shot. And like, then all of a sudden they would start to be like, hey, you're not really with us, are you? And I'm like, I am, dude. Look, I have a maxi pad on my ear. I'm representing when he took the blood in Butler, Pennsylvania. Then they start chasing me around the bridge and stuff. And I just reflect their toxic narcissism so good at them. And I have a lot of fans on both sides because of it. They love to hate me.
That is hilarious. I wish I was there for like the moment when they realize, oh no, he's a liberal. Have you ever worried about getting your ass kicked doing this stuff?
Oh, I mean, I've been assaulted. I mean, the ICE took it to the next level when they arrested me 3 times. I mean, because they tackled me, they put me in a chicken wing. They were kneeing me in the back. They were shooting me in Portland from the rooftops with pepper balls. Yeah, that's a popular video on the old station and stuff. I went to Portland last year because, you know what? Honestly, I look at it like psychedelic music. If you wanted to be a player, you had to go to San Francisco, LA. And if you wanted to do absurdist comedy last year, you had to go to Portland with the Frogs. And I remember getting up there and a lot of the Frogs took their heads off and they're fanboying out like, oh my God, I love you. You always wore the onesies. We're influenced by you. And I'm like, well, watch and learn. And I go out there and I was singing the Doors that day. And I'm like, come on, come on, come on. What was the name of the plane? The one that Trump flew at Jeffrey Epstein. Da-da-da-da. And they started shooting at me from the rooftop with these pepper balls, and they're going off my body. Some of them were also going at rhythm because they were laughing because I'm like, you guys are a bunch of glorified mall cops with super soakers up there. And they're laughing. And it was like, come on, come on, come on. Bump, 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 bump. And I got blinded for a little bit. I got some saline in my eye, and I went back out there once again, like wrestling, like Mick Foley, when the Undertaker threw him off the cage and he was on the gurney and people left him for dead. They thought they had won, that I was going to be in saline milk hell for the next couple of hours. I went back out there like Robert Duvall in Apocalypse Now. Is that all you got? Is that all you got? And then at that point, they arrested me when I was singing Rod Stewart. I was like, if you are a Nazi and you hate brown people. And they grabbed me and they brought me into their dirty dungeon. So, I've been assaulted. I've been swung at by MAGA. I've had a lot of death threats. And now that I have the ICE on board, those guys have taken it to the next level of paranoia.
Wow. So when they see you, like, do they already know what time it is, and do they leave you alone? Are they still messing with you? What ICE I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean, after the first ICE arrest, Rolling Stone did a feature. I had a CNN documentary. I was on the Bulwark. By the time I got to my second arrest, everybody on the ICE side had the playbook. It was pretty hilarious. I got arrested in Minneapolis a week after Renee Good got shot, and I just went there with a fire lit under my ass. Like, I'm going to get thrown out of the game in the first quarter. And so I went out there, and for the whole day, I was like singing Barbara O'Reilly, The Who, and I was humping the ground. And you see one DHS agent who was a female shake her head, walk calmly behind the gates and grab 20 ICE agents and come back out. And you can see her point to me and they tackle me. They put me in a chicken wing. They knee me in the back. What I'm trying to get to, though, is once they took me behind the gates, there were 7 ICE agents in full fatigues. And they're looking at me on the steps and they're like, "What's up, Portland giraffe?" And I'm like, and I'm still in character. I don't give a crap and stuff. I'm like, "What's up? Who's going to do the dirty work on me? You guys going to go second knuckle on me? I'm never going to tell you who's the leader of Antifa."
Let me ask you this. I saw you in a video. It might have been that one when you were talking to the big dude with the red shirt in the Starbucks. And I could, it might have been that video or a different video when you described what you do as de-escalation. Was it that one? Yeah. Was it in the Starbucks? So walk me through what exactly is de-escalation. I have an idea. I know what it is, but I don't think I do. And maybe the audience doesn't know either. What is it? And have you done any actual protest training for what it is that you do?
Okay, I'll answer the first question on de-escalation. It's great to be a comedian out there. It's even better to have an awareness of people's safety. And I'm talking about both sides. Just because we're all revved up by rich board oligarchs that want us against each other while they, pilfer the coffers and stuff, pillage the coffers. There's no reason why we need to hurt each other. And, above and beyond anything else I do is I like making people on both sides laugh. When I notice things starting to get heightened and starting to, you can tell when it's in the air that people are about to beat the crap out of each other, whether you've been at a bar or whatnot. You can see it in the eyes. You can read the body language. You can know when people are about to do that. So if you have an awareness of that and you are not invested in your own emotions, you can go in there and you can play the de-escalator. And so a lot of times I'll go in there, "All right, we don't need to use the batons right now. I'm going to do another song here." And all the while, I'm just trying to get people to take it down a notch. To answer the second part of the question, did I get any training or whatnot? About 2012, I started touring with a gentleman named Vermin Supreme. He would tour the country with a boot on his head, promising everybody a free pony. Now, you have to understand, this is right after Occupy Wall Street and stuff, which was like V for Vendetta Mass Land. Everybody, "We're going to block the streets and we're going to listen to 9 Inch Nails tonight at Denny's after midnight." And it was like a little gothy. It was fun. But like Vermin Supreme brought the spirit of the 60s, Haight-Ashbury. And I learned firsthand watching him at the DNC in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's going around to the cops. "What's up, Officer Williams? Officer Pendakowski? We're promising everybody free ponies." And I just was like, I was blown away. I saw it in action at protests. We went to Trump's inauguration, the first one, 2016, 17. And, literally every street was concussion grenades, helicopters, tear gas. And every street, Vermin Supreme's there like, "I'm promising everybody a free pony and we can all have fun together." And a lot of times it de-escalated and it worked. And I was blown away by that magic trick. And so a large part of this now is, we're being pitted against each other by rich, gluttonous, old men who are laughing at us as all this happens. They know what they're doing to us. And I still love America, and I know we have allies on both sides. And I've seen it firsthand, going to Washington, and the Capitol Police Officer Sachs grabs me from behind while I'm storming the Proud Boys on Capitol Hill. Till like 2 weeks ago, he gives me a water in Washington. He's like, do you know they use our videos now for de-escalation training? And I'm like, good. Really? Yeah. That video's up. We went there. We had an awesome, it was called 7 Days in DC. And it was people organizing from Flair, which is in Washington, that do a lot of the grassroots protest activism. They hit the Heritage Foundation, Congress. They have a great mutual aid tent. And they had 7 days in DC. So it was like going there. And, literally 7 days of walking around Washington. And I didn't realize at that point I was already like, all the cops knew me. Officer Sachs loved me. And I ended up meeting with Officer Sachs, and he told me all this. And then I found out either way, because I went to the reflection pool dressed up as my favorite character, Gary the Guantanamo Gator, and I started singing like Billy Joel, "We Didn't Start the Fire," but it was like "We Didn't Cut the Liner," like what was it? Cash Patel, Crooked Eye, LG on the poolside, JFK blown away, Trump is not here to stay. It was like, "We didn't cut the liner. It was always tearing. Trump must be tripping. We didn't cut the liner. It was always ripping. Trump must be tripping." And it turned out that half the U.S. Marshals they sent to talk to me already knew me. And they're like, "Listen, we're going to just give you a warning. You can go now." And, we have friends on both sides. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like art's always been that great bridge that if we look beyond what the pop culture has done to distort it, American Idol, yada, 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 who, America's Got Talent, we go back to the roots that it used to be a form of communication. People like Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, Leadbelly, activism, communication that inspired the masses. And that's what I love about it. It helped me make so many friends. I've toured 30 cities in the last 8 months, and all across the country, I've met all these folk heroes of the absurdist comedy movement, and some of them are great activists too. I talk about Jolly Good Ginger. Another one's Chelsea Gods, who wrote a song, Christy Nome is a Bird-Legged Hoe. Woke Farmer, him and Don Lemon were up in Minneapolis. They got arrested on that trumped up church. They were going after a Christian nationalist ICE agent who was a preacher, and they got him in trouble with that. But a lot of the guys I mentioned, and girls, they're hilarious. They're these larger than life folk heroes. When I went to LA 2 weeks ago. We had the Tesla protest, and it's run there by Toby, who runs an organization called Resist a Coup. And he's been doing this Tesla protest every Friday for a year. Now, Elon last week put up a wall around the Tesla diner because he's so pissed off at what we're doing and stuff. And when we went out there, like the last time, I saw 20 people with megaphones doing comedy songs. I went out there like 2 years ago. There was nobody and stuff. I saw little kids like Chelsea God's little children and whatnot. They have their own little megaphones. They're out there heckling the people at the Tesla diner. It's almost like they're child stars being developed for stage and screen. Only this stage is annoying Elon. And
Wow.
It's incredible to watch. And it feels very much to me like they talked about the folk music movement in the early 60s. People like Bob Dylan gathering in Greenwich Village and trading songs. And finally, somebody figures out the E = MC square code, and the nation gets behind Joan Baez and Bob. They were singing with Martin Luther King when he did his I Have a Dream speech. And, I feel like it can come together like that again, but almost with the absurdist comedy this time, because I don't feel like the machine has corrupted it yet, just like it has jazz with rock and roll. Tonight on American Idol, the new Bob Dylan, the new. Yeah, so it's. I feel like we have a chance to get it out there before the Grok and the AI take it and ruin it.
Well, let me ask you this. Earlier in the show, I mentioned how the only way to really confront fascism is ridicule. Is humor, is to laugh at it, because that kind of like that sucks some of the power away from it. Because fascists, authoritarians, they want to be big and scary and all powerful, and they want us to cower and be frightened, and to feel hopeless. Do you feel like your efforts and the efforts of the frogs and everybody else, do you feel like that's helping to move the needle away in the opposite direction from fascism?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we need to get to true progression. And I think that's what we're seeing with Mendami, with Abdul. We are seeing that the country wants to once again move in that direction, like they did back in the day with Bernie. We all remember those super delegates in 2016. It was always suppressed. And I feel like this time around, we need to get that grassroots movement on the collective counterculture. We need to combine mutual aid, great art, great activism. And when I go to city like Minneapolis and DC and Portland and LA, Chicago, Broadview, what I see is a budding scene, a community, Portland. And it's not because these people are all on the same page with 5051. It's because individual communities are starting to come together. And they always do. This is not a revelation. It happened during the Vietnam Wars and the assassinations. We're coming together again. There's a groundswell, and there's already a bunch of folk legends attached to it. The Portland Frogs using their de-escalation and their comedy magic. Dildos up in Minneapolis with the Dildo Brigade. Jolly Good Ginger, Chelsea Gods. All these amazing people who go around the country. Amanda Katz on a couch. And I think by the time we get to 2028, we're going to have some magic, not just on the political progressive side, but in our very souls with the art side again, that we can get over ourselves, that comedy is a great way to bridge between Republicans and Democrats, liberals, MAGA, woke. We can all come together. We don't need to be weaponized by trans and immigrants. We need to just come together maybe on other issues at first, maybe a slightly bigger minimum wage. Maybe we can all smoke weed in 50 states. Maybe, just maybe, we can finally get rid of Citizens United. We can come together on so many other topics and have a lot better music than Kid Rock and Ted Nugent, and at the same time finally bring to light the opposite end of this darkness. Not just centrist Democrats with thumbs up their asses. We're talking about progressives that give a crap about street folks, marginalized people. And that's what I think we need coming together if we're ultimately to defeat this. Not just privileged, comfortable boomers that are, we're just going to take our time right now on the floor, and Trump's going to get $200 trillion. But, in 3 years, we'll finally be able to pass our Trans Rights Act. And it's like, we need to have the same aggression and authority going back at them. And the fact of it is, we need to unite this mass culture. A lot of times it takes comedy, music, entertainment, mutual aid, great speakers, and we're heading right there. I think we're on a collision course with destiny once again.
Well, you brought up Mamdani, and I just wanted to bring up the huge win by Abdul El-Sayed, also now being referred to as Abdul Rahman El-Sayed. The Fox News heads are trying to do the Barack Hussein Obama on him. I said it's a big win. It was close, but I feel like it's big because there was so much money that came from out of state spent to defeat him. A lot of it from AIPAC, probably most of it from
$60
AIPAC.
million. And
That's a
also,
lot of
you had a
million
lot
dollars.
of the old Democrat heads not even supporting Abdul. And that's
Yeah.
what's magical. Same thing with Mendami. And what we're seeing now is people power, all power to the people. We're coming together. We're putting the right people there. And this is just the beginning of the big blue, beautiful wave. If you can't see that now, the fact of it is we're going to get to where they say in Star Wars, the rebels strike back. If we can get to the midterms and continue the same magic we're seeing in New York and Michigan, while we continue to develop our activism too. I mean, we got to remember the first 50-51 last year or whatnot, there was like 30, 40 people in Massachusetts that went to it. What was it? Senator Markey was there or whatnot. The last No Kings rally, there was 10 million people. 10 million people. It was the largest single day protest in the history of the country. And we're right there. People are ready to go. We're just being hit with the regime controlled news and the regime flashing all these horrific images on our social feed every day. Palestine, Nolan Wells. They want us to break. They want us to because privileged and power, they're not just happy with the fact that they can do it. They want to rub your face in it. They want you to know they're going to get away with it. You look at Nolan Wells and you look at that call they made to the sea towing and whatnot, and you listen to it. They love that you can hear that, man. They want you to know, you know what? You can still get all the evidence in the world. We're going to get away with it. We're going to continue with the darkness. And, on the other end, man, I feel like for all the people plotting at that opposite end of the spectrum, we have a bunch now of Jedi Knights on the opposite end, the people that are coming together, that are turning the tides in Michigan. They're doing it in New York. And just wait till the midterms, man. Can you imagine waking up one morning and not just fighting to play defense or stay sane anymore, but getting back on progression, being excited about the world again, being excited to hear the news again? Oh my God, $18 minimum wage federally across the country. Oh my God, we have all the identities of ICE agents. Like when we reverse the tides on this, man, we're going to laugh in a couple years, just like they laughed when Nixon got impeached, man. And everybody's going to be like, oh, I never liked Trump in the first place.
So for the most part, I stayed kind of out of the Michigan Senate race, and I even stayed out of the New York City mayor's race because I wanted to see how things shake out, and I knew that the energy was in favor of Mandami and in favor of El-Sayed. And it's just because they feel very authentic. When they talk, they feel like they're not reading from a script. They feel like they mean what they say, and they honestly want to help people and want to help improve lives. And so I'm happy about the outcome in Michigan, but there's a lot of people, and I consider myself like I'm centrist as fuck. I am like, I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying I know what I am. I'm a moderate. People on the left are not fond of me. They're not really fond of me. But with that said, I love Mandami. I love El-Sayed. I love them. But the establishment is like, who hates him more, Republicans or the establishment? It's weird. And why is there such fear of candidates like him? I'm asking
because we've just been basically playing so long with candidates who have taken corporate money, who have slowed down the gears on a lot of topics. I talk about the minimum wage. I talk about things like student loan debt. I talk about things like police accountability. Where was that that Biden never really approached after the George Floyd protests. And everybody's like, yeah, we're going to fix the police. We're going to hold them accountable. We're no longer going to have lawsuit money coming out of the people's taxes when these cops are sued for. And none of that took place. None of that. Once again, I feel like we've just been fighting to stay sane against these evil, the fascist regime, the corporations for so long that we have no idea of what true progression can be. You look at Mandami. I mean, in the first couple of months, he's taken care of rent control. He's pushed back on slumlords for hundreds of millions of dollars. He fixed 100,000 potholes during that brutal winter that we had on the East Coast. I mean, grassroots conviction that people we've been so starved from. We're fighting to just keep lunches in schools now and to keep Trump's name off of the JFK building, that we have no idea of actual good news anymore. A little bit more universal health care, a little bit more of maybe fixing the pathway to citizenship. So, people argue about immigration rights. Why don't we start at the problem and stop making it 15 to 20 years to get into the goddamn country? All right. That wasn't the case before. And we are just completely kneecapping ourselves out of the future of this country, which has always been built on the backbones of immigrants. Give us our tired, give us your weak, your poor, so we can put them in cages? No. So we can empower them to live the American dream. So we don't just have the 1% with hair plug Hitler, Elon, and the rest of the not ready for primetime players, drinking Cristal and drinking lamb's blood and chasing Amber Heard around in Golden Gate mansions and laughing at us as we go at each other's throats on both sides.
Yeah. So we have two different factions, right, within the Democratic Party. There's the establishment, I guess you'd call it, and the DSA, right, Democratic Socialists. And obviously, if we're going to win in November, these two factions are going to have to come together. Is that possible? And if so, how do they do it?
How do we do it? I feel like is with the grassroots side of the tracks again. We're seeing that with Mandami, and we're seeing that with Abdul. We're seeing that the power of the people, when you get them convicted through canvassing, through mutual aid, through bringing them together, that, hopefully, and I can't guarantee this, man, because the DNC is so, God, man, I mean, the way they did Bernie so dirty in 2016 broke my heart. And, you're right that, a large part of those powers that be were against both campaigns. And, it speaks volumes of where their heads will be at the 2028 DNC. And will we get on the same page? Man, I hope we can continue to just, build a bridge to get there, because we got these midterms in 3 months. And if the powers that can see on the Democratic side that, listen, the tides are turning. We are facing such a big, gross monster with these Christian nationalists on the other end behind Trump, trying to fight for a full regime now. We need to come together. And, I'm not going to be all pie in the sky about it. I'm not going to guarantee that is going to happen. But to see the strides that we've taken in the last 2 years to try to build that bridge, I feel like come September, October, it's going to be either way really exciting to see if that continues, that if we can get some wins at the midterms and use it as a groundswell for 2028. I can't answer whether or not that's going to happen or not. I mean, I'm scared myself. So all I can do is just wake up and put all that good juju in the air, and, whatever happens, happens, man.
I hear a lot of great ideas coming out of candidates like El-Sayed. For instance, it's almost like a mantra when he's talking about getting money out of politics. And I think you could probably get agreement on both sides of the aisle, probably, about getting money out of politics. That's a pretty good idea. But I think when you have some people on both sides hear that, they're like clutching their pearls, like, goodness mercy, what? How will I redo my kitchen? How dare you?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's that or the inside trading, I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of cheat codes that the people in power use. The beautiful part about it is now the masses aren't as stupid as we think they are. You know, they're getting to grips with terms like AIPAC. They're coming to grips with the powers behind the scenes like Heritage Foundation. And I feel the more, regardless of who's controlling the media right now, the more we can come together with giving the masses the information of which Democrats are taking the most money and helping them understand why a lot of Democrats weren't as driven as they should have been to stop the like $400 billion we gave to ICE so they could have limos with jacuzzis in the back of the limos and everything. Like, we've given ICE so much money. I've seen it on the front lines, like the Transformers.
70 billion, right? 70 billion?
There's been a couple of ICE packages that they've buried within bills and stuff. But yeah, the most recent one, 70 billion. You know, I like the one last year where we got to thank ICE within the bill. That was nice for our Congress people on both sides. You know? It is ridiculous. And it's taken from the pages of Vince McMahon and the WWE in the late 90s. Vince made his son-in-law Triple H champion. He made his daughter champion. He told everybody in every arena, I own all of you. You're a bunch of broke hillbillies, and I control your lives. And people loved it. They loved it because a lot of people, they just identify with that guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to cheat and steal and lie to win. I don't know if this sounds familiar, but the type of guy that, Vince McMahon was once champion. Like 60-year-old Vince McMahon won the WWE title.
What?
Sound familiar? He had 5 of his friends ringside. They distracted the referee. They filled the ballot box. They had Elon on timekeeper.
Oh, you mean like Trump winning his golf tournament this weekend? Winning?
Yeah, his 40th one. He's like the Arnold Palmer down there and stuff. And like, how pathetic. I wish, we're never going to see any of these videos, but I wish, just like the WWE, I can see some of his shadier wins during that 40-win run where like they break the guy's kneecap that's in second place. It was like the Elder PGA Tour. So it's like these 70-year-old oligarchs running around the course and stuff. And I just wish I could be a fly on the wall to see all the numerous times, they've had like drones take the other guy's golf balls and throw them in the river just so Trump can get one more trophy for his Mar-a-Lago mantle next to the model of the house on Epstein Island.
So speaking of that, Epstein Island is one of your hits, right? And I just wanted to, I want to make sure we have enough time, as I promised earlier in the intro here. So I have a wheel, right, and I have prepared some topics, right, for you to sing, right, and I'm going to spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, that's what you will sing about. So I have here reflecting pool vandals, Elon's Tesla diner, Dean's plane, Strait of Hormuz blues, fuck ice, my balls in the ballroom, and freestyle. That's whatever you want to do. All right. So I'm going to spin it and let's see where we end up.
Hell yeah. Let's go. MTV Unplugged. Hell yeah. Come on. 1,000 big dollars. No bankruptcy.
Epstein's plane.
1, 2, 3, 4. Trump was on the Epstein plane. Donald Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Hey, he was chasing around young girls, putting ketchup on his ear. He even blew Bubber in the rear. Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Hey, young man, if you're on the Epstein plane, Young man, you better get on the train. Gonna run a train on Ivanka. Let's go. Donald Trump was chasing around girls on the Jeffrey Epstein plane, putting ketchup on his ear on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Hey, he was chasing around young girls. I'm going to do a big intro and ending, just like American Pie. He was putting ketchup on his ear on the Epstein plane. All right.
Okay, shall we give it another spin?
Yeah. I never did that song on acoustic before. This is awesome. I usually have the karaoke machine, so it's awesome to adapt. I'm also playing my guitar upside down. It's like a right-handed guitar. Yeah, I'm broken.
I didn't even know until today that you played the guitar, so that's very cool.
Me either.
Oops.
Come on, $1,000, free car, trip to Honduras.
It landed on freestyle. This is your choice.
Ugh. Well, I'm friends with Apollonia from Purple Rain. Beautiful activist and lady. She also had the original Raspberry Beret that Prince was inspired by. So I'm going to do this one right now. She wore a red MAGA beret. The kind you buy when you're in the KKK. Red MAGA beret. I think you're on drugs. Everybody. She wore a red MAGA beret. The kind you buy when you take a lot of K. Red MAGA beret. One more time. I think you're on drugs. Harmonica solo. Good enough. She wore a red MAGA beret. The kind you buy when you want to blow Gaza away. Red MAGA beret. I think you're on drugs. Thank you. Thank you very much. I could sing some songs for my mother.
That was excellent. Can we have time for one more?
Yeah, of course. I got the band already. Got the drummer we sound checked for 2 hours. I got the girl on glockenspiel. We got everybody in the studio. Don't worry. Here for you. Be nice if it landed on something twice.
Oh, okay. So this is My Balls in the Ballroom.
My balls in the ballroom. Are we talking about, in this case, the big expensive Trump ballroom?
Yes, we are.
Awesome.
Oh, that sounds good.
Steve Miller cries out in a ballroom night. Enter Steve Bannon from the upper hall. They see a bunch of underage girls next to the pool table. They scream, "My God, let's grab them all." Here comes the story of Trump's big ballroom. The one that was about to cost $800 million. But then we all got together. And we put some algae in the pool so we'd be distracted by that all summer. Harmonica solo. Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Here comes the story of Trump's shitty ballroom. The one that he only constructed halfway through. Just like the wall on the border. A bunch of half-ass projects done by a guy who crashed colleges and casinos into the ground. Hell yeah. All right. Sloppy but fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, those songs were made up on the spot by Robby Roadsteamer. This is an incredible talent here. I gotta say, Robbie, I am really in awe of what you do, and I'm not, trying to get mushy or anything, but really, like, you are one of like the true patriots who are putting your body on the line. And I know you probably don't see it as much of a risk, but I do. You've been tackled and arrested, and I actually have a clip of this guy you referred to as Tone Deaf Ben, I think it was. I thought it was hilarious as hell. But this guy came at you, didn't he? Oh wait, I don't have that. I haven't uploaded that yet. In the meantime, while this is uploading, let me play this other one of you crashing Steve Bannon's party.
Steve, Robby Roadsteamer here. I'm wondering, when's the next insurrection, and can we storm the Burger King after this? Like, can we do that? I mean, doesn't he look great now? We were in Danbury the first month together. He looks great. You don't remember me? We were lifting weights and stuff in the weight room. When's the next insurrection? How are we going to do this and stuff, man? You know what? If I'm leaving, I'm having a good time. He looks like Yoda with AIDS right now. Robby Roadsteamer, no political violence, people. This place smells like mothballs. Wow, over here, where's the elevator? I'm not even going to get, like, hors d'oeuvres or something? For sure.
You fried me with it looks like Yoda with AIDS.
That actually was the only
like
time
mothballs.
I ever trended on Twitter, which was pre-Elon. But I remember my girl called me while I was coming back from New York. That happened in New York at the Lowell's Regency on Park Plaza. And I was only going there because I was going to try to sing to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I thought she was going to be there outdoors. And I have the song called Strong Horse Legs about Marjorie. And then when I got there, there was no protest. There were two MAGA guys out front. I had this red suit on for Marjorie. So I just pretended I was MAGA. And I'm like, hey, where's the party, boys? And they were like, hey, if you get in right now, they're taking people up to Steve Bannon's suite for the press conference. So I went in, and some lady was like, any still photographers still around we need? And I'm like, yeah, I'm with Tim Pool. And they put me on the elevator, and they brought me up to the suite. And then 2 minutes before it was about to start, that guy who eventually grabbed me kind of got hip, and he came up to me. He's like, can I talk to you for a second? And I was like, get the glasses. I'm doing a live stream for Tim Pool right now. And he jumped a mile back. It turned out that Tim Pool was sick that week or taking a personal leave, and they couldn't ask him if I was with anybody or whatnot. And so I was just so comfortable. Steve Bannon just got out of Danbury prison, and he was all trying to be, oh, this is going to be the new Renaissance. He was trying to pretend he was healthy. And yeah, I got my question right after Tim Miller, MSNBC, and just, I tried to come off. Steve started laughing because he thought I was an old friend from Danbury prison. I'm like, Steve, Robby Roadsteamer, doesn't he look great, everybody? I mean, we were lifting weights in Danbury last week, man, and you look great. And yeah, man, you just got to kill them with kindness before they send the end bosses after you.
That was absolutely hilarious. Now, the other one I was referring to was Tone Deaf Ben. So this was one of those guys that I kind of alluded to earlier when I was like, you ever worry about somebody like, coming at you, getting physical?
Yeah.
Here it is.
One more Trump was on
It's the Guantanamo Gator, Robby Roadsteamer here. Had a great time singing about the Jeffrey Epstein played at the Charlie Kirk Turning Point. This ball washer of pumpkin spice Satan over here started trying to start things with me. Kept bumping into me, tried to jump kick me, the Karate Clan kid over here, KKK. And later on, hit the counter protest and started antagonizing them. Let's meet the magic man himself right now, Mr. Ben Schreffler. Why are you doing this to us? Are you jealous of my singing?
Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane.
Because you're singing hits like this?
What heights of love, what depths of peace, when fears are still.
Very MAGA-low over here.
What heights of love.
That's so good. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I went down to Tampa for Turning Point, and I told everybody I was gonna get Kirk. Now I didn't mean it in the way that Tyler Robinson or the Mike Lavalier pack meant it. Like I went
Right.
down there as Gary the Guantanamo Gator, and literally after my exchange with that dude, I was the last person to troll Charlie Kirk before he passed away. I went from that experience with that dude trying to bully me outside of the Tampa Convention Center to putting on a creamsicle Tom Brady Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey over my alligator onesie, like that big alligator onesie. And to talk about how bad Charlie's security was, like I kind of got a hint of it a month before he died, because I go into the damn place with this big puffy onesie clearly sticking out of this creamsicle jersey, and nobody says anything. I sit down in the front row of there were literally 100 people there in like 1,000 capacity auditorium to see Russell Brand. Oh, hello. I was on the Epstein plane. And Charlie Kirk have this podcast, and I literally went up to Charlie and I'm like, Charlie, it's Gary the Guantanamo Gator. Why won't you debate me at SummerSlam, Charlie? And they're grabbing me. I was like, Trump was on the Epstein plane, and Russell Brand was like, I want to hear more from the alligator. And yeah, man, it was pretty wild. I'm surprised I didn't get hurt more, because it turned out that guy with the backpack was carrying a gun in there, was pretty much insinuated. Later on, you can see clips on that video from another protest where he actually could agitate people because there wasn't a de-escalator there. Yeah, he got into it and he kept pretending to reach under his backpack, trying to grab it and stuff. People said they saw it too. It was brutal. And, it brings us back to sort of the power of de-escalation in those situations, because when you have a bunch of people screaming, this is what democracy looks like for an hour, a lot of those people get charged up and they're ready for anything. And when you have a little bit more of a lounge lizard, they're like, all right, let's get sexual with ICE. It takes it down a level. And the angrier they get, the hornier Robby the giraffe gets on them.
Hey, let me ask you. I apologize first of all, because I think we're running a little bit later than I'd planned on. But
good.
I am very curious about this. At these protests, my biggest fear was that they were going to escalate or spiral out of control, not because of our side, but because I know that there are outside agitators that they love to come to our protests and infiltrate and just start shit up.
Yes.
Like there's a guy, Andy Ngo or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Andy Ngo. That dude, there's another guy.
Jack used to do it back in the day. Jack Post-Civic. With Turning Point, he would go and try the same stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
But so my question is, why do you think we haven't seen these protests spiral out of control? Do you think your presence and the presence of frogs and others had something to do with it, or is there something else up? Because I would have put money on it that somebody was going to try to, discredit the movement, so to speak.
Absolutely. And that's a large part of what happened with Occupy. Was we had a lot of infiltrators, and we didn't have as much of sort of control overhead of identifying these people from the beginning. What I really like about this is, I'm going to go back to Washington and Flair and the people down there, that a lot of the people who are traveling around the country right now that I've been watching, especially up in Michigan on the ground, you have people like Jolly Good Ginger, Amanda Katz on the couch, Echo Romeo, Angry Vet, Matt Gordon. And I've seen these people in dozens of cities helping with mutual aid, out of their pockets, giving to the community, de-escalation and protests. I think we have a lot of good Jedi Knights out there going across the country to these cities, and not just doing the comedy like me and the frogs, but helping communities to rise against what Trump is trying to do, which is declare a civil war in a city and then allow himself to overreach with martial law and taking over, which is one of the keys to a fascist regime, is their paramilitary and their control of the people through it. And I've seen in cities like Los Angeles, which Trump declared a civil war zone last June, Portland in September, Minneapolis, Delaney, New Jersey, the same attempts to do what we fear, could happen. And in all those cities, I've seen those very protesters. There's like 40 to 60 of them that travel around the country. And I do feel like, aside from maybe me doing comedy songs out there or the Frogs, there's these amazing activists, veterans, people from all walks of life that generally are concerned with helping each community get back on its feet. Minneapolis was so romantic because once those campers got back on their feet after Alex Preddy, Renee Good, we saw a lot of those kids go to Delaney in Newark, New Jersey last May and June from Minneapolis because they were so inspired by what they saw some of us doing for their communities. And a lot of those people haven't stopped traveling across the country, almost like the new Grateful Dead parking lot. So I'm not going to give myself too much credit, or the Frogs, but I do know who's sort of working the magic behind the scenes. And I got to tell you, partying with people like Jolly Good Ginger and Amanda the Cats on the Couch, like, these people are the real deal. They've given so much of their money and time and resources and energy and will. And I think we're going to be all right, man. I mean, I'm not worried as much about the Civil War anymore as much as how we're going to get the bird turd out of the White House.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Do you think he finishes this term?
Ooh. I don't, that's like predicting the ending to like Black Mirror season 5 or, House of Cards.
Anything though, just
could be anything. I think he does, but I think if the midterms go as bad as people think they will for MAGA and the regime, I think you're going to see some really weird stuff happen to the Trumpster after that. I think he, so I guess he doesn't make it through his first, the midterm, I think he makes it up to that point, and depending how he does, because they are all ready to move J.D. Vance up. J.D. Vance is Project 2025 2.0. Trump's like your drunken, sloppy uncle that has a grasp on what all these people, Elon and the gang, are trying to teach him behind the scenes. But he's 80 years old. He keeps mucking it up. I know they got the guy behind the scenes that is going to come in afterwards. So I don't know how long Trumpster, the Donster, Butterscotch Shitler is going to last.
That's a good one.
Thank you. I wrote that one. Hell, I'll be here all week.
Can I tell you what I think is gonna? So here's what I think. Right, I feel like, and I wrote a Substack about this a few weeks ago, calling him the Make-A-Wish president. I feel like out of all of those doctor's appointments he went to, one of them he got some kind of bad news, right? And I feel like the people around him are appeasing him the way you appease a kid who's on a limited, time frame. And because they're letting him basically do whatever he wants. Oh, you want to have a wrestling on the front lawn of the thing? You want to put your name on the building? You want to make a building for yourself? You want to do these things?
Yeah.
And so they're like letting him look, he's only got, so much time left. You might as well just let him have Todd Blanche, whatever. I could be wrong, but I can't think of any other logical reason these grown-ass people would let him go on with his delusion about the reflecting pool and go on with his delusion about, all the other crazy lies that he just makes up. It's like, dude, we all have Google. Why are you telling these blatant lies, man? Oh, yeah.
I think you're right when you put it like that, man. And I think, he is on borrowed time. But, when we're seeing what's happening with Mitch right now, We can't hold out for the
yeah.
fact that they're going to do a weekend at Bernie's with Trump when he finally goes for a couple of months, so they can make sure they can take care of whatever they can behind the scenes and flush whatever down the toilet they can. It wouldn't surprise me if they dole out a Tesla Trump robot after he dies for a little bit, or use AI. What we're seeing with Mitch right now, I think, is a precursor, man.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. I almost forgot about Mitch. I guess his wife did too. Anyway, Robby, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here. This is it's been a huge thrill to have you. Just don't stop doing what you're doing, man. It's incredible. You're giving so much joy and hope to people, because you are standing up to fascism and you are laughing in its face. So thank you for that.
It means the world, man. I mean, the way you've made a stand on Twitter and stuff, I've loved you for years, and I just couldn't get over you would ask me to be a part of this tonight, and you've made my night, man. I'm going to sip some Shirley Temples afterwards, and I'm going to listen to my favorite band, Dope Lemon, and I really appreciate having this platform tonight, brother. Thank you so much. So much love for you.
Thank you. Now, hang tight while I sign off, and I'll see you on the other side. Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you, brother. And folks, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Padelin, aka BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And as usual, I love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you here, same time, same place. Peace. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes.